everyone, and welcome to another round of Canje Plays. I am very excited today to bring to you Chronicles of Drunagor. I've been reading and researching a ton on this game. I didn't back it when it first came out. I stayed away from it because a lot of people were saying, no, it's not that good, don't play it might not be for you, that type of thing. But then something kept pulling me back to it, so finally I looked into it, and I watched a lot of videos, definitely by Board Game Officer. If you want to know anything Chronicles of Drunagor, Board Game Officer is your person. So he did an amazing job of running through so many things. I avoided a lot of the spoilers to get this fully so that when I play, it'll be brand new surprises for me. But I just wanted to get down the gist of how to play. He did a great job of explaining all things, especially 5 most missed rules and all those other things. So check out Board Game Officer. I'm going to link him in the description for sure, so you can go check out his amazing content also. But as I checked out this game more and more, the more I really was like, oh yeah, this really feels like a game for me. So I invested, right? I found a really good deal online for the all-in, and I have everything. Yes, I have everything, and I am because I'm printing. I found on Printables a 3D an insert that puts all the game content down into 2 boxes. I'll also link that in the description, as well as later on, once I get all the files printed, I'll do a video of kind of showing how they all fit and everything on there, just to showcase that designer's really great work. So, but today we're going to get into playing Chronicles of Drunagor. We're going to be playing the prologue in this one for setup, and then I'll have an ongoing series of this because I'm really enjoying this game a lot. And as you can see, the 2 characters that I'll be playing with, I had it to 3 completely different ones, and you'll see one is in gray plastic. You'll have to forgive me. I painted so much to try to get everything ready so I can play this game and have a lot of fun with it. But then at the last minute, as I was playing through all 3, I realized 3 was a little too much for me, so I shrank it down to 2. And then I was trying to find out which ones to get, and at the end of the day, it ended up being neither of the other 2 that I had with me, and it ended up being Katarina, who I'll be using as this other character. But Sun is painted, as you can see on there, and will showcase the fun as time goes. Anyway, I just want to say thanks to my patrons, subscribers, and if you're neither and you're just going to come check out this video and have a good time, thank you for doing that, and welcome to the table as well. So, let's get into Chronicles of Drunagor.
Ascension, a word coined to represent the state of mind a person's soul, a righteous one, reaches at the moment of their death, without the ties of the body, and with a light conscience for having lived a virtuous life. The Ascended One rises into the sky and finds its place in the blanket of night, becoming one of the thousands of stars that watch over Drunagor, an eternity spent in the truest fullness. You have never considered yourself the greatest of the faithful, and you even began to doubt that the promised and desired reward was true when you learned that you had been deprived of the one person closest to you. For that loss, you have been racked with guilt, and there seems to be no remedy for that. Wandering the roads of the old continent, you arrive at a parish house near a village far from the big cities, a true sanctuary for travelers. You stood in front of its doors for over an hour, unable to go in, but there was nothing wrong with it. The problem was within you. You didn't feel worthy of stepping into a holy place, not after what you had done. And so, all that was left for you to do was to surrender to tears under a late afternoon rain, and this would not be your first time.
A great scholar once taught me that we are all stardust,
says the priest who took care of the place after he had found you, dragged you into the building, and listened to your story over supper.
I like that because I feel that we are all always in communion, even with those who have already embraced the earth. Your dearest one's spirit may not have crossed the way of Arcana, but it still may be here, in the come and go of the seasons, just like us. And I like to believe that they too are at peace.
This wasn't the first time you'd heard this sermon. However, you couldn't deny it. There was a little comfort in that thought.
However, it's you that I worry about, traveler.
He continues, and you know that the most important thing he has to say would come next.
The grief that afflicts those who remain, when accompanied by guilt, becomes an unbeatable force to lead someone astray. I see that you are distressed, that nothing can bring you comfort. However, this does not seem fair to you. No matter what you've done, if you fall to your knees and acknowledge your pain, it's a sign that you can still find your way.
You know that you only did what needed to be done, but that doesn't make your pain any less. A father, a sibling, a friend, a lover. Being responsible for the departure of someone so close to you was not an easy thing to deal with. And there was nothing that could convince you that everything which had happened was not a great injustice, and that the world itself was to blame.
The winds have changed. Even good people have become victims of despair, and no soul seems to be prepared for the strange things that have happened. More than ever, it is essential to do the right thing, to stick to the doctrine so that you can find peace.
You want to ask why, if that was true, that you feel so bad for doing the right thing. You want to ask why you still feel that something inside of you was broken, out of place, making you wonder if what you've been taught all these years was the right thing was, in fact, the right thing. However, words fail you, and in the end, you just remain silent, brooding over the same thoughts you had brooded on through the last cycle of the moons. All that could be heard was the symphony of raindrops falling on the roof. Now, understanding the depth of your despair, your host does not speak another word, but neither does he leave you alone. And truth be told, that's just what you needed.
Few have ever gazed at the site of the Solic Mountains, far to the north of Daren, and even fewer have set foot into this mountain range. It's an unforgiving chain of icy and rocky peaks where cold winds blow all through the day and majestic bird predators roam. But long ago, a group of humans distraught with the consuming conflicts throughout the lands sought refuge in this isolated region. They built a monastery on one of the highest peaks in the Solic and have lived there for generations in peace and contemplation. Lung was the first human monk at the monastery of Solic to become ascended. His teachings and wisdom brought enlightenment to many of his followers, and his ascension awed even his few detractors in the community. Since then, the monks of Solic have sought to learn the deeper meaning of his sayings, and his ideas were collected in the 7 scrolls of the Wind Path. These people would have gladly remained in isolation and reflection in their high mountain village had not conflict finally caught up to them. Not long ago, a terrible race of shadow humanoids began raiding and attacking the Wind Path monks and their communities in the mountains, often kidnapping the young during their attacks. Sun was born during these dark times, and since the Kurohito, the monk's name for these shadow people, began their raids, children have been trained to defend themselves and to remain on guard. In her adulthood, Sun became one of the wandering monks searching for a way to stop the Kurohito raids, and following the teachings of Lung of the Wind Path, she is sure of her success. Katarina is a vigorous warrior of the Snow Clans, humans living amongst ice and cold in the far north of Daren. Theirs is a life of toil and hardship, but in stark contrast to their many trials among the snow plains, they are boisterous and spirited individuals, celebrating life in its many forms, knowing it to be a precious and fleeting thing. The martial culture of the Snow Clans produces many stalwart warriors, and their leading female fighters are known as Valkyries. Like so many Snow Clan warriors, Katarina was once an energetic and unrestrained young girl, eager to see the world and prove herself to her peers. At the age of 13, however, an event changed her life forever. Her young brother Vilske was lost in the woods near their home. The adults spent days searching, but eventually lost all hope of finding the young boy. Unwilling to accept this, Katerina went to the woods herself to find him. Hours after that, she found the pale, blue, whitish body of her brother, and as she hugged and cried over him, an old crone appeared behind her. I was almost bringing him home. She looked at the old bent woman before her and said, "No, I want to bring him to his real home, my home." The crone then whispered to the young girl, "Would you trade places with him if you could?" To which she quickly replied, "Of course I would." The old woman smiled and vanished. As soon as she was gone, Katerina's brother began gasping for air beside her. She shared the rest of her youth by her brother's side and watched him grow into a handsome young man. But now she hears whispers of an old voice in the wind, calling her south, and she knows she must follow.
A sharp, desperate scream awakens you in the middle of the night. It's still drizzling outside, but you remain dry, having fallen asleep in front of a fireplace in one of the parish house's rooms. Taken by an impulse from whence you don't know where, you hurriedly gather your belongings and rush out the door into the woods, in search of the source of the cry, determined to lend your aid. You don't know exactly where you are, but you know it isn't far from Black River, a small town in Eland's kingdom. It was precisely by following the aforementioned river that you came to this rural settlement, cozy and hidden in the hills among dense pine forests. Suddenly, something buzzes past your ear, and you are alarmed to see an arrow thud into a tree right next to you, missing your forehead by just a few inches. You look into the woods ahead and spy the shooter as it prostrates itself on the ground, a reassembled skeleton bearing the ensign of Amira, carrying a short bow in its hands. You cannot help but feel intrigued. This isn't the first time you've come across such a foe, but you certainly didn't expect to see another one now or here. After all, you believed that you had defeated the one responsible for the resurgence of such horrors. And, indeed, it was the guilt you still carry from the confrontation that made you lose yourself out there in the woods. Could others also be involved? In truth, are not these creatures always under the command or judgment of some controller? Someone who has learned how to raise the dead and decided to take a kingdom for themselves? The more you reflect on these strange events, the more confusing it all seems to you. A second arrow whizzes past you, this time grazing your arm, and you realize that these are reflections for another time. Someone needs your help.
We now have the board set up for us to play. So this is Chapter 1, A Cry for Help. The skeleton archer that was shooting at us is here. And the lovely, lovely, horrible creature that is here, a shadow vampire, is going to be located here. This is a gray monster that you randomly select as per the setup within the book. Basically, this is a tutorial that lets you go through the first chapter of the entire campaign to go through to play. Lets people get a sense of how the game will play and function with some regards, and we'll build those things out. Up here we have our initiative track. So basically, based on your dungeon roll, I have Sun as the defender, and I have Katerina as the striker. I had her under control, but it should be striker. So the initiative turn goes left to right, basically. So we will have Sun go first, then these two will have their turn, and then it'll go, and then it'll come back, and it'll come here. In this introductory scenario, we are not playing with a rune card, so the rune card isn't here. Like I said, a full breakdown of this is done by Board Game Officer. I will link his video in the description below so you can get a full how to play. But this will make sense as we go. As we know right now, the initiative player token is going to be on Sun, as she is first, and she is the defender. As the defender, Sun gets these abilities here. The first is a passive, which gives her a toughness of +3, which means it raises her health from 10 to 13 to start. Then she has another passive that's called Abundant Steps that says after you resolve an attack, whatever that attack is, action, you may move yourself 2. You may self-move too, so basically I'm very agile and I get to move around a lot to build out. A lot of you have played this game. It's a couple of years old, but we're not going to go through a tutorial playthrough. We're just going to dive in and have a good time. So a Sun going first, one of her defender tricks is called Join the Fray. So she's going to spend a yellow cube. As you can see here, it takes yellow or red. She's going to spend a yellow cube and placing it here to gain, basically on herself, she'll gain shield 2, move 2, and then she gets an attack with no modifier. Sun will gain a shield 2. She will move 2, 1, 2, towards this shadow vampire, and then she gets to do an attack for rolling a d20, and she has to get a 7 or higher on her roll. Taking the d20, we're going to roll and see how she does. She rolls a 19, one away from a critical hit. So a 19 is a hit, and on her bloodied blade, which is her basic weapon, she needed a 7+ to hit. She's just going to do 3 damage to that shadow vampire. The shadow vampire's health is 12, so it will lose 3, 1, 2, 3, going down to 9 health. After Sun makes an attack, Abundance Step, so it's an attack as you can see here. After she does an attack, she may move 2. So she will move 2, 1, 2, standing here. And then Sun is going to do her low kick, where she is going to place a yellow cube, as you can see yellow here, to low kick melee, +3 to her hit, and if she hits them, she inflicts knockdown. So what knockdown means is instead of the creature moving this turn, they have to spend their entire turn to get up, so they cannot move. Alright, so we're going to roll, and we're going to have a +3 on this attack, so let's see how it does. We got a 15, +3 is an 18, which is a hit. With our bloodied sword, we will do 3 damage, and we will inflict knockdown on that skeleton, so it cannot move. That skeleton will take that condition of knockdown and take 3 damage, 1, 2, 3. And after those 2 actions, Sun also has her move, but she is not going to move this turn. Instead, she's going to stay right where she is. Alright, at the end of her turn, that's her 2 actions. She isn't going to move, so it's going to move to the next, which is the Shadow Vampire. And the Shadow Vampire is going to do a melee attack. It has a movement of 5, and it's going to hit for 5. It has jump, so if there are any traps, it could jump over it. And then it's going to do drain health of 1 if it's able to attack. So the Shadow Vampire is going to look for the character with the most health, which would be Sun, who has 13 health. So it will turn, and it will move to get in melee range. And then it will attack Sun for 5. Sun will use the 2 to block, and then also use Divert as a fast action, using her blue to prevent 3, which prevents all that damage, so she takes no damage. That will end the Shadow Vampire's turn. Drain does not happen because there was no damage inflicted, so it will go to the Skeleton Archer's turn. Well, the Skeleton Archer is suffering from knockdown, which means it can't move, and ranged characters in this game cannot attack if they are adjacent to any characters. So right now, it is adjacent to me, so it will spend its move to get up, and then it cannot attack because I'm right next to it, I'm adjacent to it, and it's no good. It makes me good. Makes me happy. After that, we're going to move, and then it will move to Katarina's turn. Katarina is first going to move her 3 spaces. Now notice her precision says that she gets +1 to hit, and whenever she rolls a 16+, she heals herself. She starts off with 12 health. So first she's going to use her movement. Katarina's movement is going to take her 1, 2, 3, and then she is going to try her Brutal Stroke. She will gain 1 Fury token, gaining her Fury token, and on here it says when you hit with a spell attack or weapon attack, you may discard 1 Fury to add +1 damage to your attack. You may discard only 1 Fury token per turn as a reaction. So we are... per turn or reaction, sorry. So we gain 1 Fury for this. We're going to roll. We don't get any modifiers, and if we roll a 16 on this, we crit. I have never rolled a 16 on this. It's always been something below a 7. And on our weapon, we need to roll a 7, at least a hit. I've never hit with this ability. I've played this game, this scenario 4 times just to make sure I got the rules down, and I've never hit with it. So, there we go. So we're going to try and see if this is a first. Alright, let's see how we do. 13. At least I hit with it. Plus 1, which makes it 14. It isn't the 16, so it's just going to be 3 damage. So this creature is going to take 3. 1, 2, 3, going to 6. Katarina will spend to do a double attack, so it's attack, no modifiers. So I get to do 2 attacks on here, so let's give that a shot. Her first attack, we need a 7+. We got an 18. See, never roll this crit. Second attack is going to be a 12, so both hit, which is a total of 6 damage. And with that, it only had 6 health left, so it is defeated, and that creature is removed from the game, from the board as being beaten. That ends both of Katarina's actions, so it's going to go. Usually it would go to the rune, but because we're not doing that in this prologue scenario, it'll go back to the top to Sun's turn. Sun is going to do a force strike, which is a +5 to hit and +1 damage. On +5 to hit, let's see how she does. I rolled a 19, which is pretty nice, almost a crit. But that's still way more than enough, so it'll be 4 damage towards that skeleton archer. So that skeleton archer will take 1, 2, 3, 4 damage because of the +1 instead of the 3. So it leaves it with 2 health left. Fortunately, I only have 1 green cube left. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this green cube to move 3 and gain that focus. So I'm going to gain 1 focus point, and I will move to see how this goes. Sun will gain her 1 focus point. That'll go on her board. We're not going to move, as moving anywhere won't matter from where the skeleton is, and that's going to end her turn. At the end of her turn, she's used all her cubes, so she has to do an unwilling recall to get all of these cubes back, and then she has to take a curse cube. I'm using the white instead of black because it makes more sense. not like that, but I mean it makes sense to me, and it shows up better instead of black on black here on this set. So I'll put this in her balancing finding, as I haven't used that much, and that will be the end of her turn. All right, the shadow vampire has been defeated, so we will remove that token. And then we will go to the skeleton archer's turn. Remember that the skeleton archer needs to be not adjacent to any of us, so it will use its 4 movement, 1, 2, 3, to get non-adjacent to us, and then it will attack a multi-shot attack against 2 within range 1. These blue squares are those ranges, so it's not these regular ones, but these blue squares. So range 1 and range 1. Yes, all directions count. So it's going to be able to hit both of us for an attack, and it'll be doing 3 damage each. Sun will do a divert to prevent all 3 damage, not taking anything. Katarina, on the other hand, is actually going to do a tumble. So she'll set on herself, she'll prevent 2 damage, so she will take 1, and taking 1 damage means that she will be inflicted with poison as per the skeleton's rules. But then she'll also get to move 2. So she'll take that 1 damage, and then she'll be able to move 2. So she will gain her poison 1 on her board, and then she will move 1, 2. And that will be her backup. Now, after the skeleton archer's gone, it's going to go back down to Katarina to her turn. As you see, it goes over, and then back over again, and then back to her turn. First, because this is here as a poison, she will take 1 damage for that. And then, what is she going to do? I tell you what she's going to do. She is going to twin strike, because I don't need to miss this shot. As her first action, she's going to twin strike the skeleton. So she gets to attack twice with no modifier. First attack, 11, which is a hit. Second attack, 5, which is not a hit. But the 11 did hit, which will give 3 damage. That 3 damage will be enough to take out that skeleton, and it is gone. Her second action is going to be to use her striker to remove curse, to heal 2, going back up to full, and cleanse 1. Cleanse removes a poison or a curse, not both. So I will remove this poison off myself. And because I'm out of cubes, I have no more cubes, I have to do an unwilling recall, which I will get all my cubes back, and I have to place a white cube in something. We will do... I will do... Focus is always really good. Always really good to get. But I think I'm going to put it on her battle focus. I know a lot of people will disagree with me, but her divert prevent 3 would have been cool. I just didn't have a blue cube to use for it at the time. With the enemies lovingly defeated, let's take a look at our new initiative track. So our new initiative track ends with Cat. Actually, she still has her movement. She still has her movement. I didn't do her movement. Her turn's not done yet. Her movement. So her movement will do 1, and then she'll use part of her movement to open this door.
You push past your enemies, advancing through the bushes. Ahead, a small clearing serves as a garden for a hut. You can see the silhouettes of 2 people through the broken windows, conjured by the flickering light of candles.
Stay away! I'm not afraid of you.
You hear an old lady snarl at unwanted visitors. However, it seems that your arrival has diverted their attention away from the woman. After all, determination glows in your eyes, and you are not a helpless grandma.
The game now tells us how to set up the rest of the scenario, where it'll have water set up. This star here is where the door is, and then we'll get everything set up. Since we're playing 2-player, if we're playing 1-player, we would have a random white monster that's of rookie type. We're going to have a white monster that's a shadow cultist rookie, a chest, and then because we're playing 2-player, we're going to have a gray monster that's a rookie that's coming in. So our special rules, the cultist summoner, at the beginning of the this shadow cultist rookie's activation, right after it suffers the effects of any of its conditions, you must draw a rune from the rune bag. Place the darkness tile shown on it following the standard behavior. If the shadow cultist is on darkness, it must be placed next to the darkness connected to a shadow cultist. So event triggering, old and sweet. When the last enemy is defeated, we will read special event to see what's there. And with that, the board is set. The initiative has also been set, and as you can see, that was the end of Katarina's turn. She had 1 more movement, but she's not going to use it. Instead, it's going to go up to Sun's turn. Sun is going to actually do something a little different. She's going to battle focus to focus 1, switching this focus to 2, and then she will cleanse 1, where she will remove this corruption cube from what she has presently. Sun's movement is she's going to move back 1. Sun's final action is she is actually going to... she will... You know, I was thinking about doing something, but I'm going to pause on that. She is going to use this bottom ability to self-heal 2. She's at full health. But she's going to focus 1, which will give her her 3rd focus point. And that will end her turn. On the initiative track, we're going to move this down to the Shadow Cultist, who gets to move 5. The Shadow Cultist gets to move 5, which he's here, so 1, 2, 3, and then moving into this water costs 2, so it's going to be for 5. So that's its 5 movement. It is a melee attack, so it cannot attack at this turn. Next up on the initiative track is going to be the Skeleton Archer. Skeleton Archer's movement is 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. So it's at range 1, so it can attack her, and it's going to shoot at her for 3. So on her turn, she is going to use Divert to prevent 3 damage and be okay. That ends their turn, so now it comes to the Shadow Cultist. And on the Shadow Cultist turn, remember it says the first thing after conditions are met, we have to pull from the bag. So we'll shake up the items in this bag, give them a good swirl around. It's a pretty deep bag. My whole hand can almost fit in it. And then we will pull out 1, which is red, flip it over, and this is the symbol that we're looking for. We would usually put this symbol coming from the creature itself, but as you can see, it can't really fit. So what you do is instead you take this and you break it down into 3, and then you place 1, as it's the creature spreading the stain coming towards us, 2, and then 3, where it goes here. Then the cultist will get its 3 movement. So it's 1, 2, 3. It is a ranged creature, so it will be able to attack her again, and it's attacking her for 4. And it will give her inflict burn 1 and curse 1 if it's able to hit. She will spend a green cube. I think she'll spend a red cube. Yeah, she'll spend a... actually, she'll spend a green cube to self-prevent 2 of that damage and move 2. So since it's 4, she will take 2, and she'll be inflicted with burn, and she will get another curse cube to place somewhere. And she is going to place that... She will actually have to place that on her... She'll put it here, since this has already been used. So she'll put it there, and that will be where she is. She will also get her burn token for a burn 1, which is awful, but that's what it is. Finally, we have the turn order finally getting down to Katarina so she can take her turn. On Katarina's turn, she is going to move in... She's going to move here, which works out pretty well. Oh, and creatures who... I almost forgot. Creatures who are on this get an extra damage, so instead of it being 2, it would be 3, taking her to 9. Alright, so she'll move there. She will also feel the burn, and then that burn will come off. Jumping in the water should kind of get rid of it, but that's okay. She took a lot of damage on that turn. That was pretty rough. She will go with... I'm going to try. I'm going to try for the brutal stroke. So I'm going to try for the brutal stroke, gaining a fury. And then we'll see how this goes. It's never hit. It's never hit when I needed it. All right, here we go. We will see how this rolls. 13. So it's a 13 plus 1, which is 14, which doesn't crit, but it'll do the 3 damage that it needs to. And of course, we're hitting that skeleton archer. So that skeleton archer, which is blue, will take 1, 2, 3. A crit on that would just be stupendous. I will spend one of these furies to make it a +1. So you will take 4 damage. Finally, her last action. I love punishment. I love it. I love punishment so much. I'm going to do the mortal blow and try for this one more time. I swear they need to give her rerolls. Oh my gosh. I'm like, oh, I knew it. I knew it. When you count on it, it's never there for you. It's never there for you. So I rolled a nat 1. And what nat 1s do is you have to drain another cube. Well, look at that. She has to do an unwilling recall to get all these back. And then she gets, oh, fun, another cursed cube, which she'll put on blue. So she has 3 of 6 from us losing this, and only 8 health. Yay, us. And this is supposed to go on that, so... Okay, cool. Fun. With that being done, it is Sun's turn. So let's see how Sun does. Sun is going to do her movement to do 1, 2, 3. Then Sun is going to join the fray, gaining a shield 2, and then moving 2, and then doing an attack. So she will move between these 2, and then she will do attack against that skeleton, which is just a regular attack. Alright, well, let's see how we do. Let's see if this works. Nope, that's a 2. That's a miss. That's nothing. That's nothing we want at all. Fun. This is everything coming up, Canje. Well, that's the reason why we do these things. So Sun is going to spend these 3 to cleave. So her cleave ability, which is not an action, Whirlwind Strike, cleave 2, basically 2 things in my... So cleave, both of... we're going to be cleaving the Shadow Demon and the Skeleton Archer. +1 to hit, and +2 damage if we can make it work for a total of 5. Oh, I'm so failing this. Y'all know that, right? This is not going to... Oh, 13, it hits. So we do hit, so we just have to roll once for cleaves. And since we're cleaving 2, It's +1 to hit, +2 damage, which is a total of 5 damage. So 5 damage on the skeleton is enough to kill it, and 5 damage, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, puts this one at 7, and I still have an action left. Alright, my last action is I am going to do... I am going to do a... Let's do a Iron Fist. Because it gives me a reroll, because you know I'm going to roll. I don't get any modifiers, and I get +1 damage to it, so it'll be 4 damage. Alright, so let's roll. I got a 9, which hits, so that is 4 damage coming in. So 4 damage to this creature, 1, 2, 3, 4. We'll take it down to 3 health. And that will end my turn. Because I used all my cubes, I have to do an unwilling recall, which I will put on self-heal 2 and focus down here at the bottom. Turn order then gets passed to the Shadow Vampire, who will attack the person with the highest health, which is Sun, for 5 damage. Woo, fun. Well, Sun's not going to take that nonsense. Sun is going to do a prevent 3 and the shield to knock off all that 5 damage. Kiss my butt. Then it is the Skeleton Archer's been defeated, so we will remove him. And then we go to the Shadow Cultist, but remember, we have to pull from this lovely bag of fun. And what are we pulling? We are pulling another red with the L-shaped to fit. Oh boy. Well, let's take a look at how this slots up. So when we're dealing with the L-shape, remember it wants to get everyone that's there. It wants to fit where it can, and its target is Sun. So even though this is here, and I could place it to do this to be the worst, but its target is Sun. That is the one thing to keep in mind. If I try to place this however it's going to go, it's not going to fit the way that we like. So of course we got to shatter this into 3. Alright, so when it does that, it will do 1, 2, which it gets to Sun. Come on. And then it has one more to place, and it just enjoys itself so much that it's going to put itself there to get both of them. So once it lands in there, once it's put, they both take 2 damage. Sun will take 2 damage. Katarina will also take that lovely 2 damage. Then it is melee, so it is going to attack with +1 damage to Sun, as that is the highest character, so it's attacking for 5. Ooh, this is going to be a toughie. Sun will use her reaction to block 2, so she'll be taking 1, 2, 3 damage on her turn. So she goes down to 8 health, as she did that green to prevent 2 to do that, so she's down to 8 health. Then the initiative token, and she will gain burn 1, and she will gain 1 of these curse cubes as well. So she has to gain a curse cube. Let's put that curse cube on key point, and she will gain a burn token on hers as well. Now, as I was saying, this then gets passed to Katarina. My, how the tables have turned. Well, while Katarina is on darkness, she gets a -2. So she's going to move 1, 2 here. And that's going to basically be, since she's adjacent to it, she's still going to get a -2, but because she's an elevated, it's a +2, so it nullifies itself out for an attack against this creature for what we want to do. Well, when all else fails, we go for the brutal strike, right? That's kind of what we do for all else fails. I'm just getting it for the fury, people. That's what I'm really doing. It's not going to crit. It's not going to crit, so let's go ahead and roll. That's a 15 for the hit. So it does hit, +1 is 16. And it does says it crits on 16 because of precision. So it is, but it doesn't matter. Even though you're like, see, you crit. Not really. I didn't do it the way I hoped because it just kills the creature. So this creature is destroyed because it just needed 1 hit. I could have done a regular attack to see what it is. So my next action is actually going to be spending this. I'm going to spend this red to heal 2 and cleanse 1. So I'll heal 2. And I will cleanse off this. Let's cleanse off the red to see how that goes. And that is going to be my turn. Alright, at the top of the round, it's going to go to a Sun. Sun is very curious. She will first suffer a point of burn, and then that burn will come off. And then she's going to get really curious before taking her actions. Sun wants to know what's in this chest. So Sun is going to go 1, 2, 3, and then try to see what's in that chest. When you go to a chest, you have to roll the trap die to see what pain will befall you. So Sun is going to roll the trap die. Nothing! Ooh, a win. We will then grab the treasure deck, give it a good shuffle, because, you know, even in recordings, there are no shenanigans. And then we will pull the top one and see what treasure we have got. Our treasure is going to be a scroll of displacement. Discard this to do 5 damage, telekinesis 3, and stun. So this is a lovely item we found, and we are going to use this item because we can. It's a free action to do it. So I'm going to use this scroll of displacement on the shadow cultist. So using our lovely, we found out what was there. Using our lovely scroll of displacement, I get to deal 5 magical damage to it. So it will take 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, going down to 4. Telekinesis 3 means I can move a small object or a small character, which is 1 our size, 3 spaces using my mighty monk powers. 1, 2, 3 out of that lovely darkness. And then I get to stun you. So we will give you a stun token so you can enjoy that lovely stun, which means you don't get a turn. I haven't even taken my turn yet, which is pretty great. So on Sun's turn, she is going to, let's do a strike for +1, which would give us the win. So we're going to do a 4 strike. Rolling our lovely d20, and we get a 10, which is enough for 4 damage. That 4 damage is enough to kill that cultist, and it is dead.
You deliver the final blow to the last of the invaders, and finally, the surroundings seem safe to you. As their otherworldly screams fade into echoes, they are replaced by the shouts of villagers calling to each other in the dark. The battle has been won. Taking advantage of the calm, you approach your hosts, an older woman and a little girl. Naturally, they don't seem as calm as you are. After all, facing crazed men and unearthed skeletons is not part of everyday life in the country.
Go away!
Shouts the old woman, brandishing a knife in your direction as soon as you take the first step towards them.
Okay, here we get to choose what we want to do. As we see this old woman scared with the child, we can step away and leave them alone. She's got a nice little knife. We can try to calm down the lady. We can try to calm the lady down, or we can try to talk to the girl. She's protecting the girl, so to me, talking to the girl would not be a good idea. So I think we're going to go with try to calm the lady down.
Realizing that the older woman is too scared for rational thought, you lift your arms and ask her to calm down.
Stay away. The Earl's men may have abandoned us, but I still breathe and fight like the faithful subject of Elan that I am. You won't take any of my family.
She threatens desperately while scratching at the air with the weapon she holds.
Stand back or I'll hurt you.
So now we have to choose if we step away or we insist on trying to calm the lady down. Ooh. This might be bad. I'm going to insist to try to calm her down. I'm going to be like, I usually would back away and just be like, oh, okay, you're in trouble. But I'm going to insist to try to calm her down a little bit just to see what happens. This might be a horrible decision.
Realizing that the older woman's zeal results from desperation, you ignore her threat and ask her to calm down using a serene tone.
So now we need to insist on trying to calm the lady down. Make a wisdom blue skill challenge of difficulty 13. Each wisdom cube you have gives you +2 to your roll. If you follow the path of devotion or the path of nature, this challenge is successful. I have the path of cunning and the path of strength. So, yeah, Jade would have been great for this one, but who didn't choose her? I didn't choose her. So, we have to do this challenge. Basically, we have one blue skill die, so it's going to be a +2 to whatever we roll, and we need a 13 to pass. Oh, this is the bad ideas of bad ideas. Here we go. 8, 9, 10. What a failure. That should be like the name of my life, failure. Well, we failed, so it's going to be what it's going to be.
To your surprise, however, the older woman carries out her threat, and in a fit of fury she stabs at you, forcing you to back down. She pulls the girl out of the cabin in a hurry, and all that's left of your meeting is a deep wound in your shoulder and a bittersweet feeling in your chest.
Yeah, that sucked. So it says, the party leader writes the disdained aura on their campaign log. As long as they have it, auras are removed when you receive a trauma cube or another aura. Whenever they take a recall action, they suffer fatigue 1 after they resolve it. And the party leader gets it. So that's going in the campaign log. Yay, fun! Fun for me! And that is going to end the prologue adventure. So let's go into the epilogue of the prologue.
A little later, you rejoin your host in the village square, as around him a caravan of just over 24 people begins to form. Hurriedly, men and women pile everything they own onto a few carts that are there.
I saw how you left after hearing that desperate scream, my friend. If I'm not mistaken, this is the first time I've seen even a small smile on your face.
He tells you while you help the villagers with their preparations. And you are calmer, even if you didn't realize it at first. Back there, you recall, you forgot your anguish and focused only on helping, choosing virtue and doing what was right. Acting like that was always natural for you, but now you can see that you had started to give up this conduct.
I wouldn't dare tell you what's best for you, as I believe it's up to each of us to figure that out. However, I can see that you want to move on, and maybe the cure for you isn't brooding over what was. Few people I've seen run toward a scream in the dark.
So you can see the adventure ends here. You may now proceed to the camp phase. During the camp phase, you just follow these from top to bottom. So it says remove all condition tokens and resource tokens from hero boards. So everything just kind of, that lovely fury that I had just kind of goes away, but everything else is done. Remove all curse cubes. All curse cubes are going to be taken away. So the curse cubes that we have are going to go. Recover all health. So she will be going back to full health of 13. And Katarina will go going back to full health. Erase all status from your campaign log. Auras and outcomes must not be erased. So that one that we just got is going to keep going. Receive the rewards described in the back of the adventure book. The rewards for that one is going to be each player chooses and unlocks a level 1 skill on their dungeon roll, which we'll get to in a second. And then stash and retrieve any adventure items or camp items that you want at this time. After which, let's go into the rest of the epilogue.
When the caravan stops to rest in the middle of the night and the camp has been raised, the parish priest sits by your side and admires the crackling bonfire with you.
What happened to your dearest one and what you saw just now are not coincidences. Stories like these have been repeated across the land for the past few weeks. The woods are no longer safe. Many people have strayed from the path, and the villages are suffering from incursions. There are not enough soldiers, and not all places have well-trained militias prepared in time. Something is wrong.
You listen in silence, keeping your gaze steady on the embers as you fan them with a stick. The air is freezing cold.
Black River is one of those places. The mayor has warned us to seek refuge far away in Valorai because he cannot protect us. However, I think that it is in times of greatest difficulty that we need to stay together, and that is precisely why we're going there, to help with what we can. You've been wandering the crooked roads looking for something, and even you don't know what it is. But seeing what I saw back there, I'm sure you already have what you are looking for inside yourself. You cannot see this because you have chosen to wander the crooked roads, and that is normal. Throughout my life, I have seen people like you come and go through my parish, and I am sure by helping Black River deal with their problems, you'll be helping yourself deal with yours. Isn't it worth a try?
Having said his piece, the priest went silent. Even though you didn't exchange another word for the rest of the night, you knew perfectly well what you were going to do next.
All right. And we get to unlock a level 1 hero skill or dungeon roll skill. Of course, our dungeon roll skill is either going to be like defender, or not defender, but barbarian or whatnot. So, but we're going to do our hero skill to build up so I can show you what we're going to upgrade to. All right, so for Sun, we are going to take this agility skill, which is called backflip. So it's a reaction. If I spend a green cube, I jump 3, and then I prevent 4 damage on myself. So that's going to be her upgrade. And for Katarina, we are going to go with this Reckless Assault. So as an attack, for myself, I gain Fury 1, and then I get to attack 3 different times on this. And this is going to be my level 1 level up skill for what we're going to have. And that is going to be it for Sun and Katarina on their prologue adventure into the lands of Drunagor. So I hope you enjoyed this playthrough. If I made any mistakes, let me know in the comments. But until the next time, I love you. There's absolutely nothing you can do about it.